we beseech thee to behold with thy abundant favor as thy servants whom thou hast been pleased to call to the performance of such important trust in this our island. Let thy blessing descend upon us here in assembly gathered, and grant that we may, as in thy presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote thy honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interest thou hast committed to our charge. All of which we seek in thy name, and for the sake of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Motion for the approval of the order paper as circulated.
Madam President, I wish to move a motion for the approval of the order paper as circulated.
Madam President, I rise to support the motion.
The question is that the order paper as circulated be approved. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Messages from the Deputy Governor General.
No messages from the Deputy Governor General.
Announcements by the President.
Thank you. Good morning to you, all honorable members. I have just two short announcements, or rather statements, to place on the public record. Firstly, to express thanks and gratitude to our youth parliamentarians for a job well done during our mock sitting that was held in May 2023 to commemorate Commonwealth Day. This year, they did an exceptional job, and we just want to express our gratitude to them and our appreciation for their willingness and their diligence during that sitting. And secondly, to advise that the 16th Regional Youth Parliament sitting will take place in July in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and we will be represented in that sitting by a contingent from our group of youth parliamentarians, including Mr. Patrice Nisbet II, Mr. Michael Maloney, and Ms. Charlene Myers. We are confident that they will do an excellent job, and we want to wish them well as they go forward to represent us. Thank you.
Papers to be laid.
Good morning, Madam President, and good morning to colleagues on this side and on the opposition benches. I rise in my capacity as Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration to lay on the table and in this House the audited accounts for the Nevis Island Administration for the year fiscal year 2021. Madam President, ordinarily, these would have been laid at the same time as we would have read the budget. We would recall that the budget was not read until February of this year, owing to the election that was in December of last year. Ordinarily, our budget debates would happen during the month of December each year because our fiscal year runs the same as a calendar year from January to December. On the occasion of reading the budget in February, the audit office had reported that they were not quite ready with the accounts. And it is, for me, a critical requirement under our Constitution that audited accounts be made available to this House and through this House to the nation as prescribed by our Constitution. So it therefore gives me great pleasure that in accordance with Section 76(4) and Section 108(2) of the St. Christopher Nevis Constitution Order 1983 and Section 8 of the Audit Act number 8 of 1990 to lay in this House the report on the audit of the public accounts of the Nevis Island Administration for the year ended December 31st, 2021. Section 76(4) is modified by Section 108(2)(c) of the Constitution stipulates that the Minister for the time being responsible for finance shall, not later than 7 days after the National Assembly first meets, in this case the Nevis Island Assembly first meets, after he has received the report late before the Assembly. I can report to you, Madam President, to the House, that I would have received the final report on the 5th of July. And so this is the first opportunity since that time, and I therefore lay the report as required by law and our Constitution here in the House. Thank you.
Very well, thank you.
Statements by ministers.
Recognize the Honourable Senator.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Good morning to all. I rise to make a brief intervention on the statement by ministers. But first, Madam President, let me take the opportunity to publicly say congratulations to you on getting married. It's a big step. I want to congratulate you. Perhaps. Let me also take the opportunity to wish my colleague on this side, Minister Brand, a happy birthday. Today is his day, and of course, you know that Minister Brand is one who puts country above self, and so he is here this morning to do the work of the people, and I guess he will delay his celebration until after the House has concluded. So, Minister Brand, I want to... Oh, you have court this afternoon, oh Lord, poor you. You're getting a double whammy on your birthday. Well, hopefully you will get a little bit of time to celebrate on the evening. And I know that all of Nevis would want to wish you a happy birthday, because you're somebody who works hard for the people of Nevis. So I just wanted to put that out there. I would also like to express some condolences on the passing of the immediate past Governor General, Sir S.W. Tapley Seaton. I think it's important that, you know, we say that publicly. He is somebody who has contributed greatly to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and so I would like to express my condolences to the family and to the entire Federation publicly. Madam President, it just so happens that this week is the last week of the school year, so I think this meeting of the House is being held at quite the opportune time. So I'd like to take the opportunity to, first of all, to commend all of the students who did the overseas exams, the CSEC and the CAPE exams, and all other overseas exams. I know that they've all done their best already, and it's just now to wait on the results. I also want to commend all of our students who are graduating from the various schools around the island. I think everybody would be aware that this is graduation season for our preschools and for our primary school institutions here on the island. I've been making the rounds to the graduations. I've seen most of the members, all of the members on this side at graduation, and I think I remember seeing the member for Nevis 5 at a few of the graduations. And I want to take the opportunity to congratulate all of those who are graduating, those who are moving on from preschool to secondary to primary school, and those who are moving from primary school to high school. It's a time for a lot of joy, and it's a time for a lot of pride for the parents and the guardians and so on. And Madam President, I happen to be one of those parents and guardian. You know, this time around, I had my son graduate from the Ines France preschool. I think that was last week. That graduation ceremony was last week. and my daughter graduated from the St. Thomas's Primary just 2 days ago. And, you know, I was beaming with pride. I felt very good, and I can imagine that all around Nevis, we have parents and uncles and aunts who are experiencing the same feelings of joy and pride and so on. And so I want to take the opportunity to congratulate, you know, all of the parents and so on. I also want to commend all of our principals and our teachers and all of the other staff at the schools around the island who have done their work, have done all of the hard work. They are the ones who are nurturing our young people, nurturing the future of the island of Nevis. And so I want to commend them for the work that they have put in over this past school year. School year started last September and it ends tomorrow. So I think it's a fitting time for me to express, you know, my sincere thanks on behalf of the entire NIA and on behalf of the ministry to all of them. I also want to commend the Permanent Secretary, P.S. Barrett, and the Principal Education Officer, Ms. Claxton, all of the education officers, all of the staff at the Ministry of Education and the Department of Education. And, you know, they're always there working behind the scenes, working tirelessly to ensure that we have the best possible policies guiding our delivery of education here in Nevis. And so I want to take the opportunity to publicly commend all of them and to wish those who would be going on summer break an enjoyable summer break, all of our teachers and so on. I want to, you know, wish that they have a restful summer. I know teachers don't really get the summer because they start preparing for the next school year all during the summer, but I want to tell them to take a little bit of time, just a little bit of time, to relax and refresh. Madam President, the St. Kitts Nevis football team returned to the Federation yesterday. And I want to take the opportunity to publicly commend the SKNFA, the St. Kitts Nevis Football Association, and the President, Mr. Atiba Harris. And Atiba Harris is a St. Kitts man with some Nevis roots. I think his mom is from right here on Nevis, and he's someone who would have gone out internationally and played football, and he has come back to give of his expertise to football in the Federation. And the St. Kitts Nevis team, for the very first time, I don't know if you follow football, but football is probably the biggest sport around the world. And CONCACAF is the governing body for the Americas region. And our football team from St. Kitts and Nevis, the smallest sovereign nation in the Western Hemisphere, we were able to make it to the CONCACAF Gold Cup for the very first time. And I follow a bit of football, but I made sure that I tuned in to the preliminary games, the qualifying games. We got in some games on penalties, but then when we made it into the tournament, it was a big deal. And I tuned into the actual Gold Cup games. And I remember the game when we played against the United States of America, that the stadium was full, and I felt a sense of pride looking around the stadium and all of the screens that ran all around the stadium, and I saw the flag of St. Kitts and Nevis being put up, our national anthem being sung in front of a huge crowd, 50, 60,000 people, more than the population of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I felt that that was a remarkable achievement for us. We lost that game 6-0, but I think overall the fact that we were there, we won. Okay, so I want to express on behalf of the Ministry of Sports here in Nevis, big congratulations to the SKNFA. And I must say that traveling with the team, we had some technical staff from right here in Nevis traveling with the team. The team manager happens to be the Director of Sports at Nevis, Mr. Jamie Claxton. He was with the team. And I think Macefield Nesbitt traveled with the team. And there's a young doctor, Dr. Jeffers, Duana Jeffers, traveling with the team. And somebody else, Leroy Sweeney. Yes, Sweeney. We call him Junjun. Junjun traveled with the team. And so I want to congratulate all of them and all of the other technical staff.
He's the equipment manager.
Yes. I want to congratulate all of them who traveled with the team. All of St. Kitts and Nevis was supporting. It's a big, big step for us, and hopefully we can do something like that again in the future. While I'm on sports, Madam President, today I want to invite everybody in Nevis to come to the E.T. Willett Park this afternoon, if you can. We have the finals of the TDC-sponsored Renarco Morton Primary School Cricket Championships. And that's happening this afternoon. We have the third and fourth place game starting at 1 p.m. That's going to be St. Thomas's Primary versus the Joycelyn Library Primary. That starts at 1 p.m. And then the final game for the first place, that will take place at 3 p.m. And that will feature the Violet O. Nichols Primary School, VOJN, versus Charlestown Primary School. So that's at 3 p.m. I want to encourage all of Nevis to come out and support our youngsters, support the next generation of cricketers, and let's have a good time there with the primary school cricketers. Madam President, one more little thing I want to note before leaving. Last week, yeah, on the 26th, I think, of June, we had a visit to Nevis by Mr. Nicholas Claxton, who is an NBA basketball player for the NBA's New Jersey, no, sorry, they used to be in New Jersey, but they're now in Brooklyn, for the Brooklyn Nets basketball team. Mr. Claxton and his family came to Nevis. He was with his mother, Nicole, and his father, Charles. Charles is from Nevis. Charles used to be an NBA basketball player also. And, you know, Claxton is a Nevis name. So you're definitely sure that these are bona fide Nevisian, bona fide Nevis people, people with strong Nevisian ties. And so Mr. Claxton, who's an NBA player, was here. I want to give a little bit about who he is, just so that persons all around Nevis, you know, could claim him and identify that he's one of us. So Mr. Claxton, as I said, his dad is Charles Claxton Jr., and Charles is the son of Charles Claxton Sr., who I think everybody in Nevis, the older folks, definitely would know as Haas. Very popular guy here on Nevis. And his mother was Miss Sylvia Claxton of Bath Village, who is a sister to people like Blackett. Everybody knows Blackett and Tooties. And, of course, she was a daughter of Sybil Wade and Arrington Wade. We all know the Wades here on Nevis. So, real bona fide Nevisians. And he's a remarkable young man. And very, very few people make it to the NBA. I think when they came in and we had an event, the premiere was there at the event. Mr. Claxton did a basketball camp for some of the young people here in Nevis, some of the school-age children, and also some other youths who are interested in basketball. We had a camp at the netball complex that lasted pretty much all day. We had some interruption from the rain, but it was very good to see Mr. Claxton out there interacting with all of these young people. The young people, they felt very good, knowing that they had an NBA player, somebody who they watch on television, coming here to Nevis and interacting with all of them. And, you know, when they spoke with him and the family was able to tell them about their Nevisian roots and who they were related to, you know, I felt good hearing a lot of the young students saying, oh, that means you're related to me then because I'm related to so-and-so. So it was a feel-good moment for the young people. And if I'm afraid, I will wait till the end, you know. But, Madam President, the young people felt very encouraged. And it's not easy to be an NBA player. An NBA player is 1% of the 1%. I was looking up a little stats on NBA and so on. And the stats that I looked up, and basketball is played all over the world. But in the United States, where it's a big thing, the home of basketball, you have about 500,000 high school basketball players. And about 16,000 of those will end up playing basketball at college, whether Division 1, 2, or 3. And out of these 1,600 that will play some sort of college basketball, about 110 of them will end up playing in at least one NBA game. On the college circuit, you have about 4,500 players in 347 Division 1 schools. Division 1 is the top division of college basketball. So you have about 4,500 players in 347 schools at any one time. In any 1 year, only 60 persons will get drafted to the NBA. So you're really talking about the 1% of the 1%. So this is somebody who has Nevisian roots, was able to go through all of the different steps and make it to the top tier league. And not just make it in the league as a journeyman. The gentleman is a starter on a team. So he plays center for the Nets. So he's a full-time rotation player. So we're really talking about somebody who is exceptional and is in the 1% of the 1%. And in speaking to the young people, he was able to tell them that he wasn't the most talented. I mean, if you've seen him, you know that he's blessed with height, because I stood up between him and his father and took a picture, posted it on the internet, and everybody sent me back, said that I look like a little child. So when we had the basketball camp, I made sure that the premier came with me, and he stood up next to them also and took a picture, just for reference, so that everybody could see that the premier and I were down here, and they were way up there in the ceiling. But he was able to speak to the students to tell them that it's not just about God-given talent, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to get to the top. And I felt very good listening to him, you know, speaking to the young people, and I'm hopeful that he would have reached a few of them. Mr. Claxton has committed to certainly coming back to Nevis. He's in love with Nevis. He was here before, but as a child. So he is committed to coming back, and he has already stated a few initiatives that he wants to put forward. One of them he's working on immediately, but I'm not at liberty to say it. I would want to allow him and his foundation to make this statement. So all in all, I think it was a fruitful visit for him to get in contact, to get in connection with his Nevisian roots, but it's also going to be beneficial for us here on Nevis as he wants to come back, and he certainly wants to contribute to the young people here on the island of Nevis. And I think it's a good thing for the young people that they could come into such close contact with someone who is at the level that Mr. Claxton is at. So that was a wonderful thing, and I just wanted to say it so that the general public would know, so that everybody out there who, might be family or close associate could claim in, and we can all support the Brooklyn Nets and support Mr. Claxton, who is one of our very own. And since the minister said that I should claim him, yes, he's a close family member of mine, and so I want to also claim him. Madam President, with those few words, may it please you.
Thank you. Recognize the Honourable Senator.
Morning, Madam President. Morning, colleagues, members of the opposition, viewing and present audience. I rise with the intention of giving a very brief statement, by the true definition of brief, and I will give an overview of some of the work that has been happening within my ministry. I will zero in and focus on the Ministry of Health, because as we are all aware, it is an expansive ministry of health, gender affairs, and social empowerment. And I'll take the opportunity to wish my colleague a very happy birthday, and I'm certain that he will appreciate me keeping the statement very brief indeed. So in the Ministry of Health, we continue to place great emphasis on preventative care, early detection, as well as enhancing the training and skills of our current staff. So in the areas of training, there has been a number of training activities that has taken place over the past few months. Those include surgical site infection, emergency responders course, training in cardiology emergency, hemorrhage control, acute psychiatric presentation, STIs, and much more. On the preventative front, the team at the HPU continues to lead the charge within the schools as well as within the general public. This year, we would have hosted a Republic Bank-sponsored inter-high health quiz competition, and that was an excellent initiative in order to engage the young secondary school students so that they are aware of issues in health, preventative measures, and how to go about being messengers within their families as well as their communities. In that event, GSS would have, Gingerland Secondary would have emerged victorious, so congratulations to them and the other participating schools. Through its public health campaigns, the SKN Moves continue to implement quite a number of activities throughout the year to encourage the population to be more active and engaged in that healthy lifestyle. As such, we would have had the Fun Run in the Sun. This would have been held in March in honor of Obesity Day. And during that race, you would have had the relay through Charlestown that got everyone out of their offices excited to see the swift race coming through Charlestown. In that event, the Defense Force would have edged out the police. And so that's always a tight competition between those two groups. And I'm happy to say the Ministry of Health team, which I was a part of, came third. So we're healthy as well. And we also had the Half Island Relay throughout the year. That one would have also been won by the Defense Force team. And the bike relay would have taken place in Charlestown as well earlier this year. There is a major push as well towards encouraging general screening. Just yesterday, I was looking at a video that the Honourable Member from number 2 would have sent to me, actually, and it was a doctor speaking about how seemingly healthy individuals within our communities often think, because they eat well, they look healthy, they're active, that everything is okay, but sometimes they are actually walking, ticking time bombs because they're not actively screening and getting their health checks. So HPU has made a point of organizing a number of screening and health fairs, both as a unit and in collaboration with a number of businesses. So they would have collaborated with TDC to host the TDC Health Fair, as well as Four Seasons. I think the Ministry of Finance would have also had one, and we have the Continuous Shaw's project screening. So the next time you see a screening happening, please go out, get your blood pressure checked, your blood glucose checked, and just know your numbers. I actually got a nice motherly yelling at from one of the nurses because my blood pressure was too low, and she was like, "Did you eat?" And I'd missed a meal, and so she was happy to politely scold me into not missing meals. So please get checked, and you'll be able to know what is going on in your body. At the Alexandra Hospital, as we would have mentioned in the budget debate, and it would have been quite well known in the media, there was a CT scan machine added to the facility at the Alexandra Hospital, and that was thanks to a donation from the Drahi Foundation. It has since been commissioned and it is up and active, and that is one of our key preventative tools and diagnostic tools as well available in the hospital. Since then, we've added to that department, and we would have acquired and commissioned the mammogram machine, and that represented an NIA investment of $229,585 US. As a cabinet, we would have met to discuss the pricing that would be associated with this invaluable service. Of course, it's always our goal to keep the costs low, while understanding that you also have to have some fees attached in order to be able to maintain services and pay for new services that we hope to add in the future. So upon discussions and research, we would have found out that the associated costs on St. Kitts, where Nevisians generally had to travel, that would have been $300 at private institutions, plus any costs of water taxi, ferries, transportation, lunch, etc. So as a cabinet, we met and we decided that $200 would have put this costing within a range that most people should be able to access. It's not something you need to do every month or necessarily even annually. It's recommended twice annually, depending on every other year, depending on your age, or sometimes every 3 years if you're on the younger end. So we figured that the general public should be able to afford $300 after much intense discussion. But we didn't stop there. We wanted to ensure that every single person at some point or the other would have access to be able to test regardless of socioeconomic status. And so we would have discussed as a group and determined that for the rest of 2023, that is until December 31st, 2023, we're making the service free of cost to all individuals on Nevis needing to access that service once you're referred by a doctor. So I'm encouraging everyone, most importantly, women over 40, it's highly recommended at that point, women over 40 and up, speak to your doctor and get a referral to get your mammogram check done. It is free of cost up until December 31st. Capitalize. Earlier this year, our men would have came out in the numbers, encouraged by women, I'm sure, to do their prostate checks. I think it was somewhere around 700. So we want our women to come out in similar numbers, and we want our men to encourage their women. Oftentimes, women spend so much time taking care of their families and husbands that they neglect themselves. So please prioritize your health and access this very important service. To date, 55 women has benefited from this service at the hospital thus far, and I am hopeful that the next time I give a report on that, it will be in the triple digits for you. In terms of the dental unit, we would have received a donation, financial donation from the Taiwanese embassy, which would have contributed to the purchasing of 3 new dental chairs. One has been already installed at the Gingerland Dental Unit, so that is an excellent addition to our dental space. And the other 2 will be installed in short order at the new location for the Charlestown Dental Unit. While we're on that, we know that there are some spatial issues at the dental unit and Charlestown Clinic, so we are working to move that unit to the wards building, where it will be housed until a new facility can be built. So right now, during this quarter, they are currently working on the space to make it conducive to a medical institution. You know, you have technical things that have to go certain spaces. So within this quarter, they are working to get that equipped and ready, and the 2 new dental chairs will be installed at that location. And by next quarter, I anticipate that the general public will be able to access those. And that will be my very brief update for today. May it please you, Madam President.
Thank you. Recognize the member for Nevis 3.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to do likewise and make a brief statement under the caption Statements by Ministers. There's always a lot to report, Madam President, but in the interest of time, I will try not to be tarry too long today. So I'll try to be as brief as possible. And I'm going to report in 3 main areas: in agriculture, in housing, and under culture. Madam President, the Department and the Ministry of Agriculture has always been extremely busy. And of course, we know that we would have recently hosted a huge event at the ETW Park. But this past Friday, the Department of Agriculture would have collaborated with the Nevis Tourism Authority and to host one of the events for the Nevis Mango Festival, which has grown tremendously over the past 9 years. And the Department of Agriculture has been collaborating and partnering with the Nevis Tourism Authority over these years, and we did so again on Friday. And I'm very pleased to indicate that we hosted an activity for the Mango Festival for the first time at the Indian Castle Fruit Orchard. So we would have hosted the open day, which was hosted on Friday the 30th of June. At that event, we would have had the mango eating competition, the mixologist competition. You would have had a display of mangoes as well in terms of the different varieties. You would have had a mango hunt. I have to say, unfortunately, though, that this is, I think, the first year where we're having a mango festival when much mangoes were not around. But however, because we have been so forward-looking at the Department of Agriculture, we have mango pulp practically year-round. And so most of the dishes that were prepared during the weekend, we were able to use the mango pulp because there was very slow we were very slow in terms of the fresh mangoes for this year. So I want to commend the department for its activity at the Fruit Orchard Day in Indian Castle on Friday, and I want to commend the Nevis Tourism Authority for another successful mango festival. As I said, the department is always busy, and so we will be hosting another event on the 4th of August, which will be a part of the official activities for Culturama. We'll be having our fruit festival, and this time, for the first time, we'll be heading to the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park to host that event there. We normally host it in the heart of Charlestown. I remember a few years ago we hosted it at the Villa, but this year we're heading to the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park on Friday, the 4th of August, And I just want to make this appeal to persons who may be interested in operating booths. You're asked to register at the Department of Agriculture at Prospect. The closing date is Friday, the 28th of July. I'm also making an appeal for persons who wish to take part in the cake and the ice cream competition, which has always been a part of the Fruit Festival. Registration closes again for these two competitions on Friday, the 28th of July. And the base for the ice cream competition this year, for those who are interested, will be planting. And I also have to indicate that this year, for the first time, we're having a new initiative during the Fruit Festival, something called a fruit eating relay. And so you know that the Department of Agriculture has always been very creative. And so we're having something new this year called a fruit eating relay. I guess you'll have to have a team of members in your relay team, and then you'll eat fruit, go to a different section, eat again. But you have to be there to come and experience. So those of you who might be interested, start getting your relay teams together for the fruit eating relay. Madam President, I am also pleased to indicate here in this Honourable House that we had a very historic groundbreaking on Tuesday, the 27th of June at Prospect, where we would have broken ground for the construction of the poultry processing plant. I'm sure, Madam President, you and all who are here in this Honourable House, those who are listening, those who are viewing, would have heard us at the department and the ministry speak a lot about the broiler poultry production project which we are embarking on. And of course, this would have started under my predecessor for the Minister of Agriculture, that is the Honourable Alexis Jeffers. I'm happy that I would have taken the baton and I'm running with it. And so we would have had that groundbreaking at Prospect. And the facility will include a plug and play processing line with a capacity of 800 birds per hour, a spin chiller and an auto carousel cut-up line, chill and freezer units, as well as administrative offices. And Madam President, this is something that our country, our island, and St. Kitts and Nevis should be very proud of, because upon completion, it will be the first of its kind in the sub-region. And it will go a long way in reducing our chicken imports. Madam President, our chicken imports in the Federation annually is over $18 million. $18 million. And so, Madam President, we saw the potential and we decided to go for something like this. I want to commend here once again the Honourable Alexis Jeffers for starting this project, and I want to commend all of our partners as well. We have the Taiwanese Technical Mission. They have signed an agreement for the construction of a hatchery in St. Kitts. Of course, we know that once we are embarking on a project like this, we need to have a reliable source, a reliable supply of day-old chicks. And so the Taiwanese Technical Mission is on board with us. IECA is on board with us. We should be getting a consultant from Trinidad and Tobago sometime in the very near future to guide us along the way in terms of this new industry that we're embarking on. We have the support as well of the project management unit here in Nevis, the planning department, and so I want to say thanks as well to all of our partners for this initiative. And of course, Madam President, I also want to stress that this administration is very serious about investment in agriculture. Very, very serious about investment in agriculture. And we have invested over $286,000 US. That's over $750,000 EC dollars on this piece of equipment from the United Kingdom. And it shows that we are serious about food sovereignty, food security. We are serious about small businesses. We are serious about eating more of what we grow and growing more of what we eat. We are serious about the health of our nation, because we always believe that what we grow locally is much more nutritious and more healthy than what comes from overseas. Madam President, very quickly, in terms of housing, of course, the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, we continue to try to meet the needs of housing here on the island of Nevis. I know that sometime back we would have launched 4 housing projects, Hamilton, Craddock Road, Cherry Gardens, and Rices. And I'm very pleased to indicate that the project there at Rices, which is the Bayview Gardens, we have started 4 houses there. I know there was a lot of talk that we broke ground and nothing happened, but we have now started 4. We have 8 houses allotted to that development, and we have started 4. And I want to make this special appeal to persons who are making application for the houses from the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, because normally we are overwhelmed. We are swamped with applications. If we start a development and we are supposed to have about 20 houses, we normally get in excess of 50 to 60 applications. And so, unfortunately, we cannot satisfy the demands of all of the persons who require homes. We are trying our best, but I want to let persons know that there is a process. And so once you would have made the application, it does not necessarily mean that you will get a house. You have to make the application. Once you get an offer, you have to go to the bank. The bank will tell you whether or not they can proceed and process the loan. And it takes a while. So if we have offers out, if we have 20 houses to be built and we have 20 offers out, those 20 offers will take time before we can, if those persons do not get through, then it takes time before we can start the process for some other persons. So I want persons, please to have patience. We will try as much as possible to get to you once we have space. And finally, Madam President, in the area of Culturama, of course, we know that Culturama is in the air. Culturama fever has started here on the island of Nevis. And of course, we are just a matter of days away from the official opening of the festival. And I just wanted to indicate to the general public what we have done so far in terms of Culturama. We would have had the media launch on Friday the 16th of June at the Malcolm Gishard Park. Quite a lovely and successful event. We would have had the session of the contestants on Monday, June the 19th at the Mount Nevis Hotel. We would have had 3 action corners, Madam President. On June the 2nd, we started at the waterfront in Charlestown. June the 17th, we went to H&M Bar at Cotton Ground. And July the 1st, we went to Dewdrops in Westbury. And of course, people would realize that for 2023, as we gear up for our 50th anniversary in 2024, we have done things a little different this year. And we are taking the action corners around the island. Previously, they were all hosted in Charlestown. But we are now spreading the action, spreading the vibe, spreading the Culturama fever throughout the island as we get ready for the launch on the 27th of July. The Calypso tents as well, we've had 2. We've had one at the Old House Cafe on Father's Day, June the 18th, very well received. And then this past Sunday, July the 2nd, we had one at the 869 Bar and Sports Bar and Grill there in the heart of Gingerland. And Madam President, let me also just indicate to members of the public what the rest of the pre-activities are looking like. This week, on Friday the 7th of July, we have something called the La Paloma Multi-Complex presents Roll Deep at the Cultural Village, starting at 9 o'clock. On Saturday, the 8th of July, we have an action corner, and that venue will be at the Big Six Flavors in the heart of Gingerland at 7 o'clock. On Sunday, July the 8th, we have the Senior Calypso Eliminations, and that will be held at Mem's Pizzeria from 7. And the admission is only $20. And of course, I think we have about 15 or 16 Calypsonians who will be vying for a spot in the TDC semifinals. So we are asking Calypso lovers to come out and support. I also have to mention that at the Action Corner on Saturday night, we have another of the Soca teaser tents. We would have had a Soca teaser tent at Cotton Ground, and we're having another one at Big Six on Saturday. Then on Friday, the 14th of July, we have the Richards Promotion 5-in-1 Fete. Of course, we know that is a massive event. Cultural Village at 9 o'clock. And then on Saturday, the 15th of July, we have another Action Corner at Esme's Sunrise Bar at Butler's from 7 o'clock. That will be the final Action Corner. Then July the 16th, we have the St. Kitts and Nevis Restaurant Week Tasting Showcase at the Malcolm Gishard Park at 2 p.m. On Friday, July the 21st, we have the opening of the Cultural Village starting at 8 p.m. Then on Saturday, July the 22nd, we go to the Villa Grounds for the Sunrays Pre-Juve Warm-Up Fete at 3 a.m. Then in the evening at 8 p.m., we have the Soca Monarch semifinals at the David Freeman Center of Excellence in Gingerland. And then on Sunday, the 23rd, we have the Calypso semifinals at the David Freeman Center of Excellence at 7 p.m. So that rounds off the pre-activities. And quickly, Madam President, for the official activities, on Thursday the 27th, we have the official opening, and that will be at the Cultural Complex at 7 p.m. We also have on Friday the 28th, we have the AMP Promotions Silent Headphone Glow Party at Lynn's Deli at 8, or that should be at 9. On Saturday the 29th, it's the Empire Sports Club Aquatic Extravaganza at the waterfront from 10. Then in the evening, in the afternoon as well, we have the OSM Big Six T20 cricket match at the ETW Park at 3. Then on Sunday the 30th, we have the Republic Bank Mr. and Miss Talented Youth Pageant at the Cultural Complex at 7. Then on Monday the 31st, we have Poets in the Square at Memorial Square in Charlestown, and that, of course, goes for the entire week. On that Monday as well, we have the Bonnie Night of Steel, as well as the five-a-side panorama contest. That is something new at the Cultural Complex at 8 p.m. On Wednesday, the 2nd of August, we have Poets in the Square again, and we have day one of the Taiwanese Expo at the MGR Park, the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, from 2 p.m. We have the Greenhouse Band Junior Calypso Contest, and that will be at the waterfront in Charlestown from 5 o'clock on Wednesday the 2nd. We also have the Rhythms Dance Theatre production at NIPAC at 8. Then on Thursday the 3rd, we have Poets in the Square. Once again, we have day 2 of the Taiwanese Expo at the park, Malcolm Gishard Park. We have the National Bank Soca Monarch Finals at the Cultural Village at 8 p.m. Then on Friday the 4th, we have the Fantastic Friday. I also already spoke about the Department of Agriculture Fruit Festival at the Malcolm Gishard Park from 10. We have day 3 of the Taiwanese Expo at the Malcolm Gishard Park from 10. We have Poets in the Square, and then we have the TDC Senior Calypso Contest at 8 p.m. at the Cultural Complex. Winding down, Madam President, on Saturday the 5th, we have the National Bank Cultural and Art and Craft and Food Fair, and that will be at the Malcolm Gishard Park from 10. We have day 4 and the final day of the Taiwanese Expo, and then we have the Magnum Culturama 49 Wet Fete, and that is a huge event for the young people. That will be at the Cultural Village from 9. On Sunday, we have Sunday the 6th, we have the St. Kitts Nevis Drag Racing Association International Drag Racing Meet, and that will be at the St. James's Raceway from 12 noon. We have the Bank of Nevis Miss Culture Queen Pageant at the Cultural Complex from 8 p.m. On Monday the 7th, that's Emancipation Day, Juve, and the Long Jam. Streets of Charlestown, streets of Gingerland into Charlestown. We have the Herbert Beach Affair from 12 noon. We have the FFCU Miss Caribbean Culture Queen Pageant at the Cultural Complex at 8:30. And then we culminate things on Tuesday the 8th with the Culturama 49th Street Parade and Last Lap. Madam President, I just want to take this opportunity to thank all who have been on board in terms of sponsors, and our sponsors have come out in a very big way this time, and I want to say a special thanks to them. Madam President, I want to encourage persons to come out and support Culturama. It belongs to all of us. And I just want to make a very quick plug in terms of our sponsors. So far, we have Bonnie, we have Flo, SL Hosfords, TDC, the NHLDC, Republic Bank, Rams, Carib Breweries, Carib Jack, Four Seasons, National Bank, Bank of Nevis, Chameleon Media, Nevlec, Greenhouse Band, First Federal Credit Union, Stella's Engineering, and Stage Right. And once again, I want to ask and encourage persons to come out in their numbers and support what promises to be a fantastic Culturama 49 as we get ready for the homecoming festival, Culturama 50, next year. May it please you, Madam President.
Thank you. Recognize the member for Nevis 1.
Thank you very much, Madam President, and a very pleasant good morning to you. I also want to say good morning to my colleagues on this side of the House, members opposite, all those who are listening and viewing this sitting of Parliament. Madam President, I want to commence my statement by offering congratulations to you. Congratulations on being newlywed. I certainly want to say to you and your husband, I want to wish that you would have a very long and happy and fruitful life together along this path. I have been in the business now for 23 years, and Madam President, it is a good business to be in. Congratulations to you. Madam President, I'm trying to encourage a particular individual.
Just one?
Madam President, I also want to say how humble I am for the birthday wishes from my colleagues and certainly from many persons around. I am indeed thankful that God has been so good to me to bless me with another year. And I am here, Madam President, in this honorable House, ensuring that we do the people's business. So I'm indeed thankful, Madam President. Madam President, I've been given a lot of information this morning, and I believe that the various heads of department have asked me to say a lot of things this morning, and I will try and compress my statement, Madam President, as quickly as I possibly can. I want to start, Madam President, with the Labor Department. And the Labor Department will be hosting Career Fair 2023 on the 10th to the 11th of July 2023. That's next Monday and Tuesday at the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park under the theme, Shape Your Future. And Madam President, the idea is that there will be a number of presenters at this career fair on day one. And some of the topics that will be expounded on include customer service, workplace behavior, and quality work ethics. Let me repeat that. Customer service, workplace behavior, and quality work ethics. And I've said to them, Madam President, make sure that this particular session is recorded and recorded twice. When I say recorded twice, I need it to be recorded on 2 different platforms, because I believe, Madam President, that this is a presentation that I would hope that all of Nevis, those who are seeking employment, those who are presently employed, can learn something from. Customer service, workplace behavior, and quality work ethics. Also, there would be seeing a presentation on resume and cover letter writing, financial literacy, and interestingly enough, Madam President, we also will be having a presentation from the Technical Vocational Education and Training, that is TVET, and the Advanced Vocational Education Center, AVEC. In the interest, Madam President, of trying to encourage our young people to take technical and vocational training a lot more seriously. On day 2, Madam President, we are hoping to have some 14 booths, and those booths would be displaying their various skills and trade in the area of electricity, cosmetology, carpentry and construction, mechanics, welding, graphics design, plumbing and air condition, concrete and block making, engineering and circuit wiring, occupational health and safety, hospitality, spa, college selection process, and labor laws and employer-employee relations, Madam President. All of these are areas that the Labor Department will hope to highlight at Career Fair 2023 on the 10th of July to the 11th of July at the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park, starting at 9 a.m. on the 10th. So I want to encourage the general public and especially our young people to avail themselves of this opportunity. Madam President, I will turn very quickly to the Department of Public Works, and they have asked me to advise the general public that as of January this year, we are happy to report that we have strengthened the technical team at the Public Works Department, in that we have Mr. Stedroy Pemberton rejoining the department as an architect after completing his Bachelor of Science degree in architecture, Madam President. I want to congratulate Mr. Stedroy Pemberton for rejoining the team. I also, Madam President, want to advise the general public that we are also happy to have joining the team there at the Public Works Department Mr. Don Dyer, who is a qualified civil engineer, having recently completed his master's degree in this field, Madam President. So we are strengthening the team, Madam President, there at the Public Works Department, because I am of the view that while the Public Works Department is one of the most visible departments on the island of Nevis, in that everything they do is seen by the general public, it is my vision to ensure that we have all the necessary technical skills, Madam President, at that department to do the necessary work that they have to do to build out the island of Nevis. So I want to say to those two gentlemen, congratulations, and I hope that they would render their service to the best interest of the development of the island of Nevis. Madam President, the building divisions there at the Public Works Department, they continue to be very busy, and the latest project, Madam President, that they have been engaged in is really to outfit a building in Charlestown that would soon see the relocation of the Charlestown Police Station. For some time, Madam President, the good lawmen and lawwomen on the island of Nevis have been expressing some concern about the facility there at the Charlestown Police Station. And I am happy that the federal government, Madam President, have given this project some consideration, and we are hoping that in very short order we will see the renovation and upgrade of the Charlestown Police Station building in Charlestown, so that our lawmen and our lawwomen can be in a much more comfortable position. But in the meantime, the Public Works Department Building Division have been doing some outfitting and upgrade on a building in Charlestown so that the police station can soon be relocated. So I want to say thanks to them and also to the federal government for ensuring that the police officers on the island of Nevis are also given the attention that they do need. Madam President, I am also happy to report that the Nevis Island Road Rehabilitation Project Phase 2 from Cliff Dwellers to Nisbet has been in all all intent and purposes, Madam President, has been completed. And the objectives, Madam President, sought to ensure that we saw improvement in the drainage infrastructure. And we saw the construction of some 6 major drains, 3 in Newcastle, 2 in Wally, and 1 at Westbury. We also, Madam President, and I made it very clear in the initial discussion on this project, that I've always been a little uncomfortable going around Hurricane Hill, Madam President. And I felt that this was an opportunity for us to remedy that situation. I am happy that Hurricane Hill has been reduced and the line of sight going around and over Hurricane Hill has significantly been enhanced, Madam President. We have seen the construction of some 1.3 kilometers of side drains, curbs and slippers, U-drain and V-drains, all in an effort, Madam President, to deal with some drainage issues in that area. We have seen the improvement and expansion of parking facility at the Wally Beach water taxi, where some 30 new parking spaces have been created along the perimeter fence of the water taxi facility. That is phase 1, Madam President, and we are hoping to embark on phase 2 as it relates to parking at the water taxi pier facility at Wally, by ensuring that we construct, Madam President, a proper parking facility on the land that was recently constructed by the Nevis Island Administration from the Yarwoods. Madam President, we have also seen some improvement in the water supply along the road construction from Cliff Dwellers to Nisbet. We have seen new 6-inch distribution lines from Cliff Dwellers to Hurricane Hill. We have also seen, Madam President, new service lines throughout the entire length of the project. And we have seen, Madam President, significant improvement in the electricity supply, as the Nevis Electricity Company would have relocated some 12 poles, Madam President. And I want to thank NEVLEC. I want to pause and thank NEVLEC, because I think that while we often seek to improve the road network, NEVLEC have been one of those partners. I know sometimes they are not too happy with me, but they cooperate in the end, to ensure, Madam President, that we create the necessary safety mechanism in the relocation of some of these poles. And I really, really want to thank NEVLEC for partnering with us in ensuring that we were able to accomplish what we set out to accomplish on this project. I also want to thank, Madam President, the company, Surrey Paving and Aggregate, the Nevis Water Department, of course, NEVLEC, Digicel, Flow, the Department of Information and Technology, our Public Works Department, the Ministry of Finance, who paid the bills, and of course, Madam President, my cabinet and cabinet colleagues for supporting this project. I believe, Madam President, that we are all in agreement that this project have seen significant improvement in the road network from Cliff Dwellers all the way over, Madam President, to Nisbet. I am also happy, Madam President, to report that on the 16th of June, we would have signed the contract with Surrey Paving to see rehabilitation work of the bypass road, from the Water Department depot there in Stony Grove, all the way over to the island main road by the Artisan Village. So I want to thank, Madam President, once again, my cabinet colleagues for supporting this project. And I also want to thank, again, NEVLEC, because just up to yesterday, there was assisting us by the relocating of a number of poles along the carriageway, Madam President. We are hoping that this project will also see some improvement in some drainage. There are some areas that create some issues with flooding, and we are also hoping to mitigate against those, Madam President. Madam President, I also want to say to the general public that I am in possession of the first draft of the request for proposal for consulting services for the detailed engineering survey, design of road and report preparation of the South Coast Road construction project. From Long Point, and I see that they have all the way over to Coconut Walk, which is approximately 12.5 kilometers of road, Madam President. We have the draft request for proposal, and I believe that the legal department is finalizing and reviewing and scrutinizing this document, Madam President. And once the legal department is satisfied, Madam President, that this document is ready to be released to the general public for the procurement of these various consultancy services, we will make that announcement to the general public. I would move very quickly, Madam President, to our post office. And I want to say, Madam President, that there are some very exciting things that is happening at the post office. And one of which, Madam President, is the St. Kitts and Nevis Post Office has embarked on a project that in its initial stage. That is the National Addressing System and Internal Management Counter Automation System. And Madam President, the idea of this St. Kitts and Nevis Post Office addressing system is to ensure that we can, with some semblance of greater accuracy, our various addresses. And this project, Madam President, is to ensure that we embark on street naming and numbering system throughout the length and breadth of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam President, it is no secret that both St. Kitts and Nevis are now, in my mind, a multicultural, it's almost a little United Nations, Madam President, in St. Kitts and Nevis, where we have various persons from throughout the region and from throughout the world, actually, are now residing in St. Kitts and Nevis. And it is our hope, Madam President, that when this project is completed, that we will be able to say with some greater certainty that Mr. X is living at this particular address on this particular street. That, Madam President, will greatly assist not only our postal service, but also our police, the ambulance. It will definitely assist the water department and NEVLEC and SCELEC as they seek, Madam President, to become more efficient in carrying out their mandate throughout the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So that is a project, Madam President, that is in its infant state, and we are hoping that that will be completed in the very near future so that the addressing of every single person, business, resident in the Federation will be simplified and will be more clarified, Madam President. Madam President, we are also at the post office presently testing our counter automated system. And we are putting it at this moment, Madam President, through the various paces, going through and tweeting and making sure that all of the parameters that we are seeking to have in that counter automation system is functioning and functioning properly. And we are hoping that we'll be able to launch that system, Madam President, in celebration of World Post Day 2023 in October. Madam President, I will turn very quickly to our planning department. And Madam President, we continue to see that we continue to ensure that we engage in capacity building at our planning department. And in so doing, Madam President, thus far in 2023, a number of our planning department employees were given the opportunity to participate in several programs, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We have seen, Madam President, the exposure to basic installation and maintenance of rooftop solar training, and this was hosted by the government of the Republic of China and Taiwan. We have seen, Madam President, that certificate of achievement in the introduction to real estate law offered by the University of the West Indies Open Campus, Madam President. And we are trying to expose our officers at the planning department to various areas, Madam President, that will definitely be important to the operation, Madam President. Madam President, I just want to give some brief statistics as it relates to a number of applications that have come to the planning department. For the period January to May 2023, we have seen 115 detailed building applications that were received by the planning department. Of that number, Madam President, 109 were approved, and compliance matters are to be addressed on the remaining 6. For the same period, 2022, there were 137 detailed building applications, and of that number, 126 were approved, Madam President, with 11 applications with outstanding matters to be addressed. So the planning department continued to be very busy as it relates to the number of applications to that department. We have seen, Madam President, some 67 new buildings commence construction for the period January 2023 to June 2023. For the same period in 2022, there were 107, and in 2021, there were 66, Madam President. Madam, on the revenue side, for the period January 2023 to May 2023, the total revenue collected was $79,242.81. And for the same period in 2022, we have seen the collection of $75,319, Madam President. And in 2021, we have seen the collection of $51,854. So for the period of 2023, January to May, we have seen an increase over the revenue collection under the same period, Madam President. Madam President, and I want to give a little breakdown, Madam President, of the statistics as it relates to the various types of application to the planning department. We have seen 2 tourism-related projects, 6 apartments project, and 12 commercial or industrial projects, Madam President. And I believe, Madam President, that this continued to see the expansion of our tourism and our apartment, and also in the commercial sector, Madam President. And I want to thank and congratulate once again the good folks there at our planning department for the hard work that they continue to do, Madam President. Madam President, I want to turn very quickly to our water department. And they too have been busy for the last few months. They have completed, Madam President, some 1,500 feet of 4-inch PVC pipe in the Brown Hill area, from the netball court, all the way down to the intersection. That's 1,500 feet of 4-inch PVC pipe, Madam President. And they have replaced some areas that have had 2-inch lines, and I believe 1.5-inch pipe, Madam President. So they have stabilized the water pressure in that area. We have also seen, Madam President, the installation of some 800 feet of 2-inch high-density polyurethane pipes in the Calcahoon Estate area, and we have dubbed that road, Madam President, the Banjo Road. That was phase 1 of that project, and we are hoping, Madam President, that we can now go in on that project and have the actual road construction completed. They have also, Madam President, completed a number of upgrades on the Bath Village Road project. As that project is currently ongoing, they are also in the process of improving, Madam President, the water network on that project. We have also, Madam President, seen the replacement of what I believe may very well be one of the last piece of cast iron pipe on the island of Nevis. And Madam President, I say that very guardedly because I stand to be corrected. But in the TDC area, we have completed an area from the island main road into the, well, I call it the industrial site in the TDC area. We have replaced a 4-inch cast iron pipe that has been there for many, many years, Madam President, with a 4-inch PVC line, Madam President. And I want to thank the Water Department for completing that project. Madam President, we have seen the installation of some 6,000 feet of 6-inch high-density polyurethane pipes on the Cliff Dwellers project. And I believe, Madam President, that the government have taken the policy that wherever there is new road construction, we will ensure that we upgrade the water network wherever necessary, Madam President. And this is another example where we have seen some 6,000 feet of 6-inch water line on the Cliff Dwellers Road Improvement Project. Madam President, I also want to advise the general public that the United Arab Emirates Caribbean Renewable Energy Funded Project, we have seen, that's the small desal project, Madam President, we have seen some movement on that project. And we now have a contractor on the island that is seeing some work on that project, Madam President. And we are hoping that later during the course of this year, that UAE desal water enhancement project will definitely come online, Madam President, to bring some relief as it regards to our water situation on the island of Nevis. I want to also, Madam President, advise that we are at the moment having some discussion as it regards to new sources of water. And we are in the process, Madam President, of, and I hope that we can enter into that agreement very shortly, to have a company to do some additional mapping on the island of Nevis that can give some clear indication, Madam President, as to where we can do some drilling for water. And once that process is completed, then we are hoping that we will see some drilling on the island of Nevis very shortly, Madam President. Madam President, I want to turn very quickly to disaster because disaster department said to me, Mr. Minister, make sure you said this in the House. And they have put it in a letter form to Madam President. Madam President, I am happy to report that the Global Support and Development MV Dawn visit to Nevis as of the 31st of July to the 4th of August. The team at the Global Support and Development, GSD, has scheduled a visit to the Federation with its emergency response vessel, MV Dawn, during the period the 24th of July to the 4th of August 2023. This comes as a result of discussion with the Nevis disaster management agencies and stakeholders during their fact-finding mission to Nevis on the 2nd of March 2023. The first stop will be in St. Kitts on the 24th to the 28th of July. The vessel will then proceed to Nevis to commence activities with the disaster management stakeholders during the 31st of July to the 4th of August. Madam President, I have said in this particular meeting on the 2nd of March 2023, that I am hoping that we will not have to use the services of global support. Why I say that, Madam President? Because it would mean that if we then have to use the services of the MV Don, it would mean that Nevis would have been severely impacted by some natural disaster. I am really hoping, Madam President, that we won't have to use it. But they have offered that service, and I believe as well that the legal department is finalizing that MOU with the global support and development. I believe, Madam President, that their visit to Nevis, however, will offer the island of Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis another platform in the event of any natural disaster. But I am still hoping that we won't have to use it. Madam President, I believe as well that this visit of the MV Don would also allow our disaster management officials the opportunity to be exposed to different type of training that is on the seaside. And we are hoping that the knowledge and training and experience that they will gain from this visit will go down to the benefit as well of the people of Nevis, especially our fishermen, our fishing folk. And I'm looking at this visit, Madam President, from that kind of angle, where the disaster management in cooperation with our Coast Guard and perhaps the MV Don, that we can add another layer of service to our fishing folk and our marine, Madam President. That, for me, in my mind, would be to the ultimate benefit of the people of Nevis and the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Madam President, with those, what I hope to have been very short words, may it please you. And I take...
Thank you. I recognize the member for Nevis too.
Madam President, I rise to make a brief statement in my capacity as Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration on the fiscal situation of the Nevis Island Administration for the year thus far to June 2023, which represents midway through our usual fiscal year. I did disclose some information during my recent press conference, which was held on the 29th of June. But today I provide updated information as further numbers have become available, as various departments have now reported earnings and expenditure for the month of June. Madam President, the signs thus far are encouraging as we fight our way out of the recent global pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. The revenue performance has improved. Current revenue, January to June 2023, now stands at $76,284,300. The same period in 2022 saw current revenue of $68,051,124. So it means that current revenue is up by some $8.2 million or 12.1% this year over last year. Corporate income tax, January to June 2023, stands at $7.9 million, while at the same period in 2022, this tax yielded only $3.08 million. The increase this half-year period is therefore some $4.87 million or 157.9%. That increase is largely attributable to payment of arrears in taxes, corporate taxes that is, by a large company here, and the proceeds of revenue sharing between IRD, the Inland Revenue Department in St. Kitts, and the Inland Revenue Department in Nevis in relation to another significant company. On VAT, the value-added tax, through our Inland Revenue Department, January to June 2023, we would have saw revenue of some $14,397,265. That same period last year yielded $12,236,922. And therefore, we've seen an increase this year in VAT collected at the IRD of some 2.16 million or 17.65%. This, again, Madam President, points to a considerable uptick in the local economy, especially in tourism, as the majority of that VAT increase came from the tourism sector. Social services levy has moved from a 6-month figure of $5.4 million in 2022 to $6.3 million, an increase of $924,112 or 17% this year. This reflects the growth in employment and level of wages thus far this year, and is also, Madam President, a good sign of economic recovery. More people are working and people are earning higher wages. At our Customs Department, our value-added tax collected at Customs January to June 2023, we saw just $8.3 million, and that compares to, well, let me give precise figures here. The period January to June 2023, $8,386,839. The same period last year, January to June 2022, $8,325,453. So there's been a marginal increase of 0.7% at Customs for VAT collection. However, insofar as import duties are concerned, Madam President, we have seen a decline of 4.98% on import duties. Customs, January to June 2023, would have collected some $5.1 million, and last year that figure at this same time was $5.4 million. People may well ask, well, how come import duties are down? And I think a big part of that is the continuing concessions that the government has given on import duties to try and stimulate economic activity, particularly in the construction sector. Financial services, Madam President, January to June 2023, and we unfortunately did not get numbers for the end of June, but thus far the numbers that we have would show that this year, from financial services, we have already earned $7.2 million. Last year at this same time, that figure was $6.1 million. So the increase is just over $1 million, representing 17.23% in terms of an increase. There was, in fact, Madam President, and I think this is good news, a dramatic jump in registered entities from 799 entities registered in the first half of last year to 1,430 entities registered in the first half of this year, an increase of some 79%. I should explain quickly that part of the reason we're seeing such an increase is we're seeing a flow of business moving from some of the other jurisdictions into Nevis. There are good reasons for that, but we won't get into that now. I hope that if we come back for the budget, we'll get into that at that time. Property tax, another important tax, Madam President. It has yielded thus far for the first half of this year $1.8 million, and that is up some $300,744 or 19% from the $1.5 million collected in the same period in 2022. I believe, Madam President, I want to go on record this morning, that property tax is still badly underperforming. And I urge taxpayers to be responsible and honor their obligations to the government. Property tax is a tax, I feel, that ought to be yielding much more revenue than it is yielding. And there are certain deficiencies that is leading to that. We're working on those, but we're also urging our taxpayers to be responsible and to pay their taxes. On the Tourism and Development Levy, Madam President, you would know and the House would know, and the public no doubt would know, that we levy a 2% tax on hotel stays, restaurant purchases, food and beverage, and allied services to the tourism sector. That 2% is what we then use to fund the marketing efforts of the Nevis Tourism Authority. On the Tourism and Development Levy, that 2%, available for the 5 months from January to May 2023, the revenue stood at $1.8 million. Some $533,043.75, or 40.3% above the same period in 2022, when we earned $1.3 million from that sector. This again points to an excellent recovery, Madam President, in the tourism and restaurant sector. Nevis's share of CBI proceeds thus far for fiscal year 2023 amounted to $33 million, which brings the island's total revenue at this halfway stage of the year to $109,959,970, which is just about 1.5% above our 2023 budgeted target for the 6 months, January to June. So at this pace, we are just above our budgeted revenue targets for that period. The number of business licenses applied for during the first half of this year is 181, compared to 141 for the same period last year, an increase in new business license applications of 28.3%. Madam President, let me say, however, and they've asked me at Finance to make this clear, that all of this may not represent new businesses, meaning businesses that are brand new. What we have been trying to do is for some small businesses that are existing is to try and get them to get their business license. So this number would have some small businesses that were perhaps pre-existing but are now being asked to get their license to operate and so bring themselves within the law. And so we have had 181 applications this year thus far. Of course, any report on the financial situation must also look at expenditure. And so on the expenditure side, Madam President, total expenditure January to June 2023, including our debt servicing obligations, stands at $108,741,545, which is up some $14.6 million, representing a 15.6% increase over the same period last year. Of that expenditure, personal emoluments, driven largely by the historic salary increase thus far to public servants, amounted to $44.2 million, up some $3.5 million or 8.21%. Capital expenditure rose significantly during this period, largely due to ongoing road construction, from $17.8 million for the January to June period in 2022 to $24.4 million for the same period this year, for a 37.4% increase in capital expenditure. The majority of this is attributable to the build-out in road and water infrastructure on the island. So you see all the long speech we heard from the minister for number one, it's because he's spending all the money. Road and water infrastructure on the island. Madam President, I end by saying that the state of the economic recovery thus far in Nevis is commendable. It is commendable. We are, I believe, on the right track. But I urge the various ministries to continue to be fiscally prudent so as to control the expenditure side of the budget, while, of course, we continue to try to maximize the revenue collection. May it please you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Personal explanations. Introduction of bills and first readings.
Madam President, on this agenda item, I rise to ask your leave to have read a first time in this Honourable House the Nevis Business Corporation Amendment Bill 2023.
Madam President, I rise to second the motion.
The question is that the bill, shortly entitled the Nevis Business Corporation Amendment Bill 2023, be read a first time. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
A bill to amend the Nevis Business Corporation Ordinance, Cap 7.01, and for matters related thereto or connected therewith.
The bill, shortly entitled Nevis Business Corporation Amendment Bill 2023, has been read a first time.
Madam President, I rise again and seek your leave to have introduced and read a first time the Nevis Limited Liability Company Amendment Bill 2023.
Madam President, I rise to second the motion.
The question is that the bill, shortly entitled the Nevis Limited Liability Company Amendment Bill 2023, be read a first time. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it.
A bill to amend the Nevis Limited Liability Company Ordinance, Cap 7.04, and for matters related thereto or connected therewith.
The bill, shortly entitled Nevis Limited Liability Company Amendment Bill 2023, has been read a first time.
Regulations.
Madam President, it is not usual that regulations would come here before the Assembly in this fashion. And the regulations would ordinarily be issued under the hand of the responsible minister, and if anything laid. So I would ask, notwithstanding that we did move a motion to have the order paper approved, that this particular item be expunged from the order paper, Madam President. I do ask crave the apology, I do apologize and crave the indulgence of the Honourable House in the circumstances.
Is there a seconder?
I second it, Madam President.
The question is that the order paper as circulated be amended to remove item J, regulations, Nevis Multiform Foundation Amendment regulations. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it.
Adjournment.
Madam President, on the adjournment, I just want to, first of all, join with my colleagues here on this side to heartily congratulate you on tying the knot. I want to wish you a long and happy and successful and very fruitful marriage. All the very best to you and your entire family.
Thank you.
I also want to say a very happy birthday to my brother here on this side and the member for Nevis 1. I know that he will have a wonderful day and probably a better night. So I want to wish you a happy birthday, Honourable Member for Nevis 1. And while I'm extending birthday greetings, I also want to reach out to my good friend all the way in England, Heather Williams. I know she always listens to everything that happens in Nevis. So Heather, happy birthday to you as well. And to my good friends Jean and Gilly over in Brownhill, enjoy your day. Madam President, I also want to take this time on the adjournment to congratulate all of the students who have been graduating from the primary schools here on the island. I know that this is graduation season, and I want to congratulate all of the schools and all of the principals. I want to especially congratulate the school in my constituency, the Joyce Lynn Library Primary School, and I know they had their graduation, a wonderful graduation ceremony yesterday. So I want to congratulate the students. I want to congratulate the principal, Mrs. Brand, and her team, and to wish them success in the future. And I also want to congratulate the graduates from the Gingerland Preschool as well. And now just to turn to a sad note and to extend some condolences to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis on the loss of our former Governor General and former Attorney General, His Honor Tapley Seaton. I also want to extend some condolences to two families in my constituency. We would have lost Mr. Elton Archibald from Rollins. Unfortunately, I was not on island to attend the funeral, but I want to extend condolences to the family. And we also have Mr. Thomas Brown, also known as Buck, who would have passed, and so I want to extend condolences to his entire family, his children and grandchildren, and the entire family. And Miss Sylvine Hanley, who was originally from Hanley's Road, but who resided there in Stony Grove. Condolences to that family as well. And finally, to the family of Mr. Reuben Wilkinson, who would have passed as well. May it please you, Madam President. I don't know if there's anyone else who wish to say something on the adjournment.
Recognize the member for Nevis 5.
Madam President, fellow members, Madam Legal Advisor, Sergeant of the Arms, Clerk, members in the public gallery, members of the media, I bid you all a pleasant good morning. Madam President, I rise just to say a few words on this adjournment, and I do crave your indulgence. I wish to offer congratulations to you, Madam President, and to your spouse on your recent milestone of unifying as one in marriage. Madam President, I wish you well. I pray that your union will endure perhaps until eternity. But I do wish to advise you, Madam President, that it does take time, patience, a lot of effort, and of course, Madam President, love. I wish you well. I also wish to extend happy birthday wishes to Honourable Spencer Brand, member for Nevis 1. I certainly wish you an enjoyable day. I offer congratulations to the Ines Vance Preschool, formerly the St. Thomas's Preschool, on their recent graduation ceremony, which was held last week, Thursday. My son was a proud graduate, and therefore, I must express profound gratitude on behalf of myself and my husband to the entire staff, teachers, and all of the support staff for their commitment and dedication, not only to early childhood or to our children, but also to the entire constituency of St. Thomas's. Madam President, on that same token, I also extend congratulations to the St. Thomas's Primary School, which held their graduation on the 4th day of July 2023. I extend congratulations to the graduating class, the principal, teachers, and other support staff. I must also congratulate the top student, Delijah Clark, on his outstanding academic performance. I pray that he will continue to excel and exceed all expectations. Madam President, on a more solemn note, I wish to extend sincerest condolences to the loved ones and family of the former Deputy Governor of St. Kitts and Nevis, Sir Samuel Tapley Seaton, on his passing. Governor General. Thank you. I trust that his family is comforted knowing that he has transmitted peacefully to be with his ancestors. Madam President, on that same token, I also extend sincerest condolences to our Prime Minister, Honourable Dr. Terence Dew, and his family on the passing of his beloved dad and musical icon, Michael Mick Stokes Heiliger. I pray God's grace and guidance during this very difficult time for his family. And I urge colleagues to give support in whatever way they can in order to ensure that the Prime Minister is comforted during this difficult time. May it please you, Madam President. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Recognize the member for Nevis 4.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning to all honorable members present and to those in the gallery. Allow me, Madam President, to extend hearty congratulations to you and to your husband on your union. I take this opportunity also to extend congratulations to all of the students graduating. I am sorry that I could not attend the St. James Primary School graduation this morning. Unfortunately, I had to be here to address House matters. However, I did attend early and had an opportunity to exchange greetings with a number of the students and their parents. I also want to say congratulations to the schools that are participating in the primary school championship, cricket championship this afternoon. And I must apologize, I would not be able to attend as I have to be in St. Kitts meeting with representatives from the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center regarding the development of climate change projects to assist the economic diversification of Nevis. But to all of the students participating in the championship this afternoon, I extend my heartiest congratulations and best wishes. And of course, I have a little bias for the Violet O. Jefferson Nichols Primary School, who are participating in that event. I also join in those who have expressed condolences on the passing of our former Governor General. I think the entire country mourns the passing of such a great stalwart, one of the architects of our Constitution, and certainly his contributions would live on, but we ask that his family, friends, and the entire country remember the works that he would have done. I also take this opportunity to extend condolences to the Prime Minister and his family on the passing of his father, and to all of those who have lost loved ones in recent times. I take this opportunity to extend condolences. May it please you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
Madam President, I rise on the adjournment and to take this opportunity, Madam President, to say congratulations to all of the various schools that are currently engaged in their graduation process. And Madam President, I have had the privilege of attending at least 2 of those graduations. And I'm very much encouraged, Madam President, that the future of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and I would even dare say, Madam President, that the world that we presently are now living in, I am persuaded and I'm convinced that we are in good hands. The kind of accomplishment, Madam President, of our young people, our primary school students, continues to be remarkable, Madam President. And I want to say congratulations to all of the students who would have graduated and participated in the graduation process, all of the parents, all of the teachers. And I also want to, Madam President, say congratulations to the Ministry of Education, because over the last year or 2, the COVID pandemic, Madam President, which I believe that the Ministry of Education had to literally rewrite the way in which they deliver education to our children, was remarkable in ensuring that our children continue to get the very best of what we have in our education process. So I want to congratulate the Ministry of Education as well. Madam President, I want to also use this opportunity to offer condolences to a number of families that are presently mourning. And I want to speak, Madam President, of one Mr. Reuben Wilkinson, a gentleman who I have known as a little boy growing up in Stony Grove. I believe, one of the most professional and strictest bailiffs we have had around in a very long time. And looking at this gentleman as a young boy growing up in his family, it continued to left the kind of impact on my life and definitely on the lives of the young men in Stony Grove. So I want to use this rostrum, Madam President, to say to the Wilkinson family there in Stony Grove how saddened we are of the passing of Mr. Wilkinson. I know that he was one of the icons in the Stony Grove community, and definitely the Stony Grove community will definitely miss Mr. Wilkinson, Madam President. I also want to offer my condolences to the Bergen family there in Ramsbury on the loss of their mom, Violet, who was laid to rest last week. And this, Madam President, was another one of my very special friends there in Ramsbury, because I believe that she played a very important and pivotal role in nurturing and raising a very special young lady that has been my wife for the last 23 years. So I want to say thanks to Violet Berger for that special touch, and I believe that she definitely had something to do with that. Madam President, I also want to offer my condolences to the family of our former Governor General, Sir Tapley Seaton. I believe that when the history of Nevis and St. Kitts would have been recorded or expanded and continue to be written, that definitely, Madam President, that there would be a few chapters there attributed to Sir Tapley for his contribution to nation development. And finally, Madam President, to one of the Federation's icons, a genius in his own right, the mighty Mick, the dad of our Prime Minister. And I believe that many musicians throughout the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis would attribute the sweetness of their music to Mick Stoke, Madam President, because he was a very unique drummer, a very unique vocalist. He had one of those voices, Madam President, that was sweet, was unique, and very poignant, Madam President. So I want to say as well to the Prime Minister and the entire family how saddened we are as well to learn of the loss and the passing of Mick Stoke. Madam President, with those very brief words on the adjournment, I would hope that while we continue to reflect on the passing of these citizens, and while we continue to celebrate our children in their graduation, that we will always do all that is in our power, not only for our children, but for the development of St. Kitts and Nevis on a whole. May it please the Madam President.
Thank you.
Madam President, I rise to second the motion for the adjournment sine die, but as is the privilege given to parliamentarians on the adjournment, I would just like to add my quota of commendations and congratulations to you, Madam President, on your recent nuptials. And of course, to my good friend, your husband, Mr. Clark. And I am advised, reliably so, that he said that the wedding day was the last occasion that you should be referred to as slack. So I am protected because I refer to you as Madam President, so I don't need to get into the title. But certainly I would want to commend you both and wish you long life and long years of happiness together. Madam President, I also want to take the opportunity to wish my brother and member from number 1 a happy birthday today. It is indicative of his commitment that not only is he here, but he gave a budget address on the statement by ministers. So he was here for a long time. and I believe that he is going to have a good day, and I wish him all the very best, and I know that Lady Sheila will take good care of him today, and the entire family will do so. Let me also use this opportunity to say to the Nevisians and to the people of the Federation and the wider CARICOM, a happy CARICOM Day. We celebrated CARICOM Day on July 4th, which was on Tuesday, and Madam President, we would have celebrated it on that day with a public holiday because it marked 50 years since the start of CARICOM, since the signing of the Treaty of Chaguanas, I think it's called. Madam President, we would have celebrated with an event at the Malcolm Gishard Park, Family Fun Day, and I think it went rather well. Many people turned out. I want to thank the Honourable Latoya Jones, who's in the gallery, for her efforts, as well as the Honourable Troy Liebert and the prominent Secretary in the Ministry of the Premier's Ministry, Mr. Wakely Daniel. I think they coalesced and produced an event where people really had a nice time and an opportunity to come together and to bring people together on this historic CARICOM Day. So I'm very grateful to say Happy CARICOM Day to all. I add my quota of condolences. I've done so publicly already, but let me do so again to the family of the late Governor General Sir Tapley Seaton. Sir Tapley would have served, I believe all of us know, he was the youngest ever Attorney General. He would have served in the government then, the PAM-NRP government that took this nation into independence, and he would have been the first Governor General during independence and the youngest. I believe he was only 28 years old when he became Governor General, and so he went on, Attorney General, I'm sorry, forgive me, Attorney General. And he later went on to become Governor General. So he would have served as the first post-independence Attorney General and our youngest Attorney General at 28, and went on to become Governor General. He has also given yeoman service to the local bar, the OECS bar, and he has, I know, been very involved with the Council of Legal Education, which oversees legal education in the region. And so I extend my deep condolences to his family and join my colleagues on both sides of the House in expressing our condolences on his passing. We would have heard condolences expressed to a number of families who have lost loved ones. I join in extending those condolences. But let me also take a moment to extend condolences to the family of Dr. James Stewart. Dr. James Stewart is someone who's not from Nevis, but he made Nevis his home. He lived here for many years. He had, at one point, a dental practice here. And I am told that he collapsed at a local business place and succumbed. And so I would want to join in extending condolences to his family as well, because I believe, notwithstanding he was not from here, that he made a tremendous contribution to the life and times of the island of Nevis. I end, Madam President, by congratulating all the students who are graduating, congratulating all their teachers, their parents and guardians, and all those who have been involved in their lives thus far, whether it's during preschool or primary school. I have had the privilege of attending a few of the graduations. I believe that there is one this afternoon of my alma mater, Ivor Walters, that I will have to be there because that school is near and dear to me. I want to congratulate as well the Honourable Senator on this side, Troy Liebert. He said he had a son who was graduating. Commend him, and commend as well the member for number 5, who also had a son. You know, when I hear people in the parliament saying those things, I know it's time for me to retire, because my children are nearly about to have children. I'm looking at grandchildren, and they have people graduating from preschool. So something is clearly wrong in terms of this age divide that we have here. But I want to commend them and really to encourage them to continue to do their best, and to encourage all of these children, all of them. I've had the privilege of doing awards for the top boy and top girl at each of the schools. And so I have become a bit familiar with most of them. And I too regret that I couldn't be at the graduations that are happening while we're here. But naturally, we had important business that was scheduled here. And I wish those graduations well, and all the students, teachers, staff, and parents all the very best going forward. Thank you, Madam President. With those few words, I renew my seconding of the motion to have this honourable House adjourned Sine die.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Before I put the question, I would just want to express my gratitude and appreciation to all of you for your words of congratulations. I accept them and I have internalized them, and I'm very grateful to all of you. I would also wish to join with the members in expressing happy birthday greetings to the member for Nevis 1. I do hope that you enjoy the remainder of your day and that you make it a memorable one. And finally, I have heard the collective expressions of sympathy and condolences to the many persons in our community who have passed, including the former Governor General of St. Kitts and Nevis. And in that respect, before I put the question, I would wish for us to join in a moment of silence as a house, just to acknowledge that. We will stand and we will have that moment of silence for 1 minute. Thank you. You may be seated. Now the question is that this Honourable House stands adjourned. Sine die. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.